With Hasbro's success in A Real American Hero, it's no surprise that numerous companies tried to get in on the knockoff market, which resulted in varying quality of figures from pretty cheap knockoffs like Extreme Troops to Lennard's ever running the core line. The line we're going to take a look at today was released in 1992 and is the Power Commandos from Lucky Bell. This is actually the second wave. We're going to take a look at these closer and maybe look at some of what, in my opinion, are some of the best not G.I. Joe figures out there. Stay tuned. Taking a look at these figures on the card, we'll see that they were sold in 2-packs. So you figure on the top, figure on the bottom, that's the same. There's 6 figures in this first wave. You'll see the packaging is very G.I. Joe inspired, kind of with the explosion and then the character portraits. With the name Power Commandos at the top. You'll notice this time that the subtitle for these are those guys from the other galaxy. And so these aren't just your normal soldier toys, they're your fully posable space age shoulder figures, which is nice. It gives them a little bit of distinction between A Real American Hero and some of the other lines that was coming out at the same time, like Remco and Lennard's, which kind of just figured straight to the military line. The figures you get in the second series are Submarine, X-Ray Eye, then you get Condor Strike and Red Raven, and then Mummy Mask, who's one of my personal favorite, and then Metal Hawk. The back of the packaging, like I said, very Joe inspired. You've got file cards for each of the figures. You've also got kind of a portrait diorama going on of these 6 figures. You'll notice that this has a import sticker because most of these showed up in Mexico. So they all have these Mexico import stickers on them. That's the packaging. Cards are pretty nice. It's a pretty nice card stock. It's not flimsy like you'll see with some of the other lines at this time where they were just trying to put something on a card just to get it out. They actually put some time, put some thought into these character art. Like you'll see here at the bottom, 1992, Lucky Bell, collect them all. Overall, pretty good packaging. It's similar to what you got at the time. I can't complain. I think the character art is done pretty nice on these. So we're going to get these figures opened and take a closer look at them. Stick around. Alright, so we got the 6 figures here opened. One thing that's hard to describe through a camera is how something feels. But, if you're familiar with Joe and its various, Joe knockoff or Joe inspired brands, you'll notice, a lot of them don't feel like the same quality that you got with a Hasbro toy. These, I think, have a pretty good feel. They feel better than a Lennard figure, which sometimes feels a little cheap. They don't necessarily feel as good as Hasbro or maybe some of these modern day lines that we're getting, but they certainly they don't feel super junky. Let's take a closer look at these figures. I think something cool that if you're familiar with Joe, you're going to notice that a lot of these parts and accessories are inspired by Joe. One of the things I really like about some of these weapons that we'll look at is, for those of you familiar with Joe, they like to, Power Commandos takes, 1 or 2 weapons from Joe and kind of mashes them up into one. Those eagle eyes out there might be able to point out some of those when we get through them. Let's start here on the left with X-Ray Eye. It's a pretty cool, he's a pretty cool figure. He's got this torso that definitely kind of looks like the Tele Viper or Claymore. The other cool thing about these figures is they don't have any shortage of accessories. So here is that rifle that he comes with. Like I said, those eagle eyes out there might be able to, kind of tell that these are mashup of Joe's. He's also got this cool claw that has a spot there to stick his hand in, and then an axe as well. Next up, we've got a Submarine. got a pretty cool design. I think his head's a little bit too big for his body. Some of these figures kind of have that issue. I don't think it's that huge of it's not a deal breaker for me, but you know, some people that bothers them. He's got these cool like skate or claw shoes there. That's got a foot peg, so you can plug that in there. Got this pistol. And then I can stop dropping it. This rifle here looks familiar, maybe. No. Next up, we've got Condor Strike. He seems to be the kind of the main hero of the bunch. Kind of has a baseball motif, and along with that, he's got a bat or a laser sword. So, again, another one of these cool rifles. I think the sculpting on all this stuff is pretty good for what it is. Just a little pistol here. Then we look at Red Raven here, who's one of my favorite designed figures. I really like the color schemes that they used. They've kind of, between these 6 figures here, they've kind of got their own, each 2-pack kind of has its own color motif going along with it. Got that backpack there. This rifle here, as well as this one. And then he's also got some flippers. These look to be pretty much just straight up copied from the Joe mold. Next up, I think we've got my favorite figure of the bunch, and maybe the most iconic, and that is Mummy Mask. Just a really cool looking figure. That's, this whole set, I think these figures all look pretty cool. They're very unique, have their own design to them. He's got this big axe. Then a spear thing. And then another one of these rifles. So it's cool because all of these rifles are different. They're not used, they don't all have the same weapons between each figure, which is something pretty common that you see in some of these lines. They just, they get one set of accessories and give them to all the figures. And then finally here we've got Metal Hawk. He definitely suffers from the oversized head. I think he probably suffers from it the worst out of this range of 6. Got his backpack here. Pretty similar to that of Low Life's. Low Light, not Low Life. Another spear. Another small little blaster. And then this cool sword. So that's a closer look at these 6 figures. It's important to note, a lot of people think that these 6 figures were actually the first series, but that's actually not the case. These ones are the second series. So the first series released in 1987 and featured 12 figures, these 6 in slight repaints, and then 6 additional figures. Those Series 1 figures seem to be much rarer. Seems like these 6 kind of got dumped off in Mexico, and that kind of seems to be where they were unearthed. And there's a large quantity of these ones out there. I'd love to get all of the Series 1 figures. There's also a third series out there which has the other 6 figures from Series 1 in different color schemes. Those seem to be even rarer than the first series, but eventually one day I would like to get them, just see when they come up. But they don't come up that often, which is a shame because I think these are really solid figures. I think they're up there with Leonard's the Corps as some of my favorite not G.I. Joe items. Yeah, so let me know what you think about these. Do you have any of these in your collection? Have any desire to get them? Yeah, let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you guys were able to figure out what some of these weapon combinations were. I know what most of them are, but I still think it's kind of fun to figure them out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.